Hi, I am really excited to be back on YouTube. I'm gonna start making more beauty related YouTube videos, except for I would like to focus on like non-toxic and clean beauty products. I'm gonna make some makeup tutorials, I'm gonna do reviews, things like that. So I figured I'd start off by reviewing the new RMS foundation. It's fairly new, it came out I think a couple months ago. And so this is the packaging, this is what it looks like. And I really love the ingredient list on this. It's super pure and clean. The #1 ingredient in here is jojoba seed oil, and then there's castor seed oil, meadow foam, beeswax, a coconut derivative. Pretty much the whole ingredient list is like super clean. So I'm really excited to try it out and see what I think of it. I think that that's really hard to formulate clean beauty and have it be functional and look really good on the skin. So I'm excited to try it. So it also comes with this little spatula. I think super dark in my apartment right now. So hopefully the sun comes back out a little bit. So it's this interesting jar. It's a little dark for me, so I'm gonna go in with a lighter concealer after. This is shade 33.5. I got this foundation at the end of summer, so it is now November. So this is probably not gonna match me anymore. The first thing that I wanna do with this is I'm gonna prep my skin with a little bit of the RMS Beauty Oil. This has a very similar ingredient list than the foundation, which is really nice. So I'm gonna go in with just like 2 to 3 drops of this, and I'm gonna warm it up with my hands and then just kind of press it into my skin. Because this is a natural foundation, there's no silicones or anything like that in there, so usually silicones are what create that nice slip to the skin. The beauty oil helps to create a little bit more of a slip for that foundation to lay better on the skin. So I'm gonna start with taking like this much on the back of my hand. A little goes a long way with this foundation. Yeah, this is definitely looking a little dark for me. So I'm just gonna start by putting it on the center of the face and then working out. Really, the outer perimeter of the face doesn't need foundation in the way that the center of the face does. A lot of the discoloration is usually the center of the face. So sometimes I'll even just leave my forehead alone because my forehead really doesn't need the coverage. But because this foundation's a little dark for me, I'm gonna try to blend it out as best as I can. The warmth of your fingers really helps this foundation to melt into the skin. RMS does have a brush that I have too. It looks like this, but I think it's a little too small. I usually like bigger brushes for foundation, so I figure I'll just use my hands for this. I had a little bit of redness on my chin because I was picking at my face, which I don't recommend doing, but you know how it is. So you can see where I placed it for sure because it's darker than the rest of my skin. I kind of like going a little bit darker just because when you have a really light foundation, it kind of makes you look ghostly. And I'm wearing a turtleneck, so it doesn't really matter. Okay, so this is just one layer of that. That was just the tiny little dot that I put on. I am gonna put on a little bit more. I'm gonna do a second layer, and then I'm gonna go in with that concealer to kind of help blend it all together and look more like my skin. So I'm gonna go in with a little bit more, put it on the back of my hand, and then we're gonna do it again. So now I'm gonna go in with concealer. I'm gonna do the Uncover Up from RMS. This is shade 22. This is what they look like. This is what RMS is really known for, the concealer. The concealer, I would say, is a bit more shiny than the foundation. The foundation actually has more of like a satin finish to it. The concealer is a little bit more shiny. I would say 22 is matching me so much more right now than the foundation. I also noticed a lot of RMS tends to pull a little bit more yellow. She did just come out with some newer shades, so she has some more neutral options. I've also found with this concealer, less tends to be more. If you put on too much of it, I notice that it can crease up pretty easily, but if you actually put on a sheer amount and really press it into the skin, it doesn't really crease up as much. I'm gonna bring this pretty far down since I'm trying to blend out my foundation, my darker foundation. Then I'm gonna kind of bring it down the ridge of my nose. And I'll kind of bring it, keep it in the center of my forehead too. I do have a little spot right here, so I'll cover that. So now that I'm finished using the concealer, I'm going to set everything with a little bit of translucent powder. Actually hers, the one I'm going to use, it has a little bit of tint to it, but it doesn't offer coverage. So I'm going to set my whole foundation with this unpowder. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to bring back a little bit more dewiness to my skin because I like that look. I'm going to use her cream blush and highlight. The cream blush that I'm going to use is Spell from RMS. It's actually a pretty deep shade, and it doesn't really have much like pink to it. This is, again, like a deeper blush. I'm just going to use my fingers. And she always says to put it higher than you would think to put your blush. So like sometimes we put it lower, but you want to make sure that you bring it honestly pretty close to where you put your concealer under the eyes. It'll help to just create a lift to the face. So now I'm going in with the RMS Luminizer. This is Champagne Rose Luminizer. This is my go-to highlight. I absolutely love it. It just creates a really beautiful, dewy, glossy look to the skin. I pretty much place it right halfway to where I put that blush, and then I bring it all the way into a C shape around the eye. I also like to put a little bit of it underneath the brow bone. I'll put a little bit on the Cupid's bow. On the ridge of my nose. The ridge of my nose is kind of weird because I have like a little dent on the side. So to make that less obvious, I actually put the highlight like right on the dent. And then I'm gonna do the other side. So sometimes people don't believe that you can put creams on after powder. I've found that with RMS at least, you can put powder and then put cream over it and it'll still look really natural. It won't look like weird and streaky. Okay, so this is the finished look with the foundation, powder, highlight, and